Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allie, and today I am reading Female Rage to fuel my soul again. I did this around this time last year because I just needed the pick-me-up. It was a really trying time. It was right after the elections and I was feeling some rage. And I don't feel like it's ever went away, and I'm ready to dabble back into quite a few books. I recently posted this on my Instagram. I did a little birthday shoot in November and decided these photos felt so rageful, I wanted to do something with them. So this is my TBR for this video. Every single book that I included on the slide was feminine rage filled books that are on my TBR and that I'm excited to get to. So I'm going to be talking about each one of them in this video and taking you guys along with me. And a little side disclaimer, I am getting over being sick, so I apologize at the beginning of this video if my voice sounds rough. I'm finally feeling human again, so yeah. The first one I started with was The Lamb by Lucy Rose, and I devoured this. And I actually hate using that word for this because of the cannibalism within this, which is disgusting. This book is vile. It is so vile. It's disgusting. And I don't think I've quite ever read anything like this. I feel like this is a cross between Yellow Jackets, a cross between Hansel and Gretel, and probably something else that I'm forgetting. But it very much so is a dark, twisted story. It almost is so dark and just grotesque that like I kept getting taken out of the story and wondering what time period this is. Like, is this supposed to be current day? And I think I've already checked. Yeah, I think I've went back and forth because I'm just like, is this current day? Because it feels like it's not. There's no way that this could be current day. But we have this little girl who is going to public school. She's riding the bus and she's making friends at school, but also being told to be quiet, don't be too much, don't draw attention, because at home, her mother, they live out in the middle of nowhere. Her mother is drawing in like strangers who get lost out in the woods to eat them. She has her daughter eating humans and craving human, and as her daughter's getting older, she's putting together the pieces that this isn't right. Like, other people don't do this. I'm being told to be quiet. Like, she's putting those pieces together where like her young, innocent mind couldn't comprehend that, couldn't wrap her brain around this not being a normal thing, but now she's seeing this is not a normal thing, especially whenever she gets close with somebody who is a friend of hers and she's like, I can't let my mom know about this friend because if I do, she might try to eat her and I can't lose this friend. And then another stranger comes up and just becomes the perfect fit for her mother to add into the posse, if you will. And she joins in on their activities. It is dark, it is gut-wrenching, and it's devastating. Oh my God, check your triggers. It is insane how jarring this book is. With that being said, I did give it 5 stars. It's good. It's beautifully written. It's so thought out and like, oh, she really knows how to just make your stomach churn. Like, I wanted to throw up reading this book, but I also couldn't put it down and just had to keep reading. I had to know what happened to this character. I had to know what rage-filled moment we were going to get. And while I will say on the level of this being like rage, I would probably give it a lower rating because I feel like this wasn't the rage that I was looking for. I definitely am craving more of it in the upcoming books. But what I did really enjoy from this was the subtle amount of rage like filtered throughout it, of this anticipation, like this building anticipation of it and being like, when is it gonna hit her? Like, when is she gonna finally be like, that's it, you know? Like, I can't live this way anymore and you guys are monsters. And oh, it was so good. Definitely check it out if this is your type of book, but you have been warned. It is, it's a rough one, you guys. Since I left you guys, I'm feeling so much better. I think I was sick in the last part. if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I am filming way too much end of the year stuff to keep up anymore, but I did complete another book. I read Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna van Veen, and I have some side tangents for you guys. First of all, if you see nail polish smeared around my fingers, no you didn't, okay? It was a very rushed ordeal, so it's not beautiful. Second of all, I thought I was saying Joanna's name wrong this entire time. I talked about Johanna last year for my best of horror Goodreads video, and I was like, I'm been saying their name wrong this entire time, because I did have the audio for this through my Hoopla, which was very nice, very beautiful narrator, the accent and everything, great, grand. But yeah, I was like, I've been saying their name wrong this entire time. And then we get into the story and I'm like, oh, no, it's just her accent and the way that she is enunciating things. Because the way that this narrator says Michael, it took me a minute. If it wasn't for the tandem read, I never would have guessed that his name was Michael, one of the characters in the story. So I do think it is Johanna van Veen, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what I'm gonna go with. My next little tangent, not really tangent, this is just something I wanted to like gush over. Besides the beautiful cover, and if you get this edition with the dripping edges, stunning. Even more artwork in the book that is so beautiful. We have like a little author's note at the beginning, kind of just letting you know like what you're getting yourself into, which was, I feel like, done so beautifully. Like it could have been worded like most, where it's just short and like to the point of like, there's gonna be this and this and this and this and this, where this author really tried to be like, I don't want to spoil the book for you, so I'm just gonna highlight a few things that like if it triggers you, I would steer away from, but the way that they did it was just incredible. But there's different parts throughout this book, and there's literally quotes from Dracula. If I've not already like so excited, and I literally cannot wait to reread Dracula for like the new Dracula movie coming out. I'm reading it very soon, rereading it, and I cannot wait. I didn't read Dracula all this year, and usually it's like a reread for me, so I'm on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait to pick it up, and Johanna does this to me. Literally the first one. I am longing to be with you, and by the sea, where we can talk together freely and build our castles in the air. And it just continues, like, every part. Let me see if I can find the next one. I don't know, I'm not seeing it. There is more. Oh, there's part 2. I sometimes think we must be all mad, and that we shall wake to sanity and straight waistcoats. Oh my God. And they were just perfect for this story. This follows, now this might be a little tangent, because if you've been on my channel, you know I don't like the twin trope. There is nothing against you twins out there. Like, I love twins. I have twins in my family. I love twins. But the way that authors or directors use twins in books and movies usually is not for me, because you have to do the, one of them goes missing and the other person shows up and everybody like, oh, they're found, and really it's their doppelganger twin. Or it's one is good and one is evil. And I just feel like it's so overdone that like anytime I open a book or I start a movie and there's twins, I'm like, I'm already taken out of it. So Johanna, I feel like with the Dracula quote and how beautiful this book is and how beautiful your writing is, even with the twin trope, I was like, I can't put this down. Like, I don't know like what to expect with this twin ordeal, but I can't put this down. And with that being said, they don't do anything weird with the twins. Like, it is just a very cutthroat story about the lives of two twins. And one is going through something scary and intense, and the other one is going through the motions and grieving and trying to figure out what is happening to their sister. And so, yeah, props to Johanna for doing a phenomenal job on the twin trope, because it never works for me and it does in this book. One sister, Lucy, is traveling, and by the way, this is in 1887. Lucy is traveling to her sister Sarah, who has become ill, is not acting like herself, is kind of trying to seek help, but also just like losing her mind. And it just unravels in this beautifully written Gothic tale of just spiraling into insanity. And there's so much more to it that would be too spoilery, because this book is like a jaw-dropping book. The twists and turns within this is incredible. You really stay on your toes. You don't know what's around the corner. And I just love that. It's also like so dark and eerie too, that like it creeps you out. And the imagery with how she describes like the gore and those moments, oh my gosh, I was grossed out. Maybe not as much as the last one, The Lamb, because that was pretty gross. But in its own way, this one is very disgusting and disturbing as well. And I like that this one, kind of like The Lamb, is kind of just like this subtle amount of female rage throughout. It's just kind of sprinkled throughout, but it's very subtle, and then it's built up. So it's like, again, that anticipation of like this huge female rage moment that I am enjoying. I think it depends on what day I wake up. I feel like I've been enjoying the subtleness of it and just kind of having it sprinkled through since it's like the holiday time and stuff. But don't get me wrong, I am kind of like, okay, I need that like gut punch, that like bam, like female rage all the way through. So I'm still hoping to get that with one of the books I read in this video, but this one does have female rage, and I did really like that aspect. I liked the characters, I like the story, the plot. I even loved the ending. I loved everything about this. Reading this and experiencing this book was like my time with Hungerstone. I ate that book up so fast. If this was my copy, this is the library's copy, I would have been highlighting and annotating the entire time. It was so beautiful. Definitely will be picking up my copy of this. And if you watched my Goodreads video from 2024, I liked their last novel, but I think it was My Darling Dreadful Thing, but it still wasn't an all-time favorite for me. This, 5 stars. I love it. The amount of back-to-back-to-back 5 stars I've been reading lately for the end of my year though, I think that's why I'm okay with the subtle female rage, because like these 5 stars are just making me so giddy and hyped that I'm like, I'm happy. I don't even need female rage anymore. Oh, shout out to Johanna van Veen. That is such an incredible book. And I believe this one is a part of this year's Goodreads. It's gonna be really hard. There's so many good horror books this year. It's gonna be so hard to figure out my ranking, because horror writers, you're doing it this year. To be completely honest with you guys, I am filming this video just on the whim. Like, I don't know what my last clip was. I'm kind of just reading these when I can, and then I just pop in, you know? It's been quite the time. I'm hoping that I'm tying in all the loose ends, but I feel like I'm not really giving you guys like thoughts in between. I'm just kind of finishing a book and letting you know what I think. I hope you guys don't mind. It's a busy time and I'm juggling a lot of videos and trying to figure out like how to make this work. So yeah. With that being said, this past weekend, was it this past weekend? Yeah, I think so. We went out of town right before like Christmas and the holidays to do our final Christmas shopping and just kind of getting out of the house. The kids were getting stir crazy. It was that type of vibe. So one of my early Christmas presents was a Barnes & Noble card. So I was like, I gotta go to Barnes. So I did pick up a couple of things. I did haul it in, I think, my bunny video. So you guys can check it out there. But I got like a couple of Fangoria magazines, 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano, and I picked up this one because I wanted to read it for this video. I absolutely love the cover, but this is one of those moments where I'm like, it's a new to me author. I probably should have borrowed it from my library first. This was definitely just a cover buy, if you will. Like, obviously I wanted it for this video and I wanted to read it, but yeah, I probably should have borrowed it from my library because you guys, this went downhill. It
It is quoted as feminist rage at its finest and so darkly funny you'll laugh until your stomach hurts. I didn't laugh, you guys. Like, the comedy was lost with me. I think the comedy could have been there, and we'll get into that, but these characters were so awful that like I just couldn't find any comedy within them because I just hated being in their heads. I hated reading about them. I just hated every minute of this. Betrayed by the men in their lives, two women seethe with rage and bitterness when a trickster spirit offers them the gift of revenge they cannot resist. Sounds incredible. Sounds right up my alley. Chia runs one of the best restaurants in Nigeria and is renowned among the male clientele for her captivating beauty and delicious hot pepper soup. But her hot pepper soup has a secret ingredient and her beauty is not what it seems. Obviously, we can see the cannibalism going on. Claire is a 50-year-old British woman living also, in Nigeria with her young Nigerian boyfriend and his beautiful cousin, Shahid, I think was her name. Consumed by jealousy and resentment, Claire's carefully organized life spirals into chaos after a night out at Chia's infamous restaurant. These ladies are just so unbearable to read. And I've seen a lot of hate towards Claire, I agree. But like, in my opinion, I feel like Chia was like just as bad. Like, I didn't like this woman. I didn't like being in her head. She was so negative about everything. And also just like so disturbing in like all the wrong ways. I like feminine rage when it's like, yes, like these men have treated them bad. Somebody has treated them bad and they are seeking their revenge. But like, I like when they still have some type of moral compass, like they have something that's good in them that is still there, although they have kind of snapped. Obviously, they're not, there's still like that, morally gray area, if you will. But I like to like the characters that I'm reading that are getting their revenge. Otherwise, I just don't care. And there's just so many things in this that were just so like, I almost feel like some of the comedy was forced with the soup giving her gas and her farting and like different things like that. And I know that people have gotten a kick out of it and they think it's funny and whatnot. I probably would have too if I enjoyed the writing style more and if I enjoyed any of these characters and like what this book set out to do. Because the concept of it that I can't even talk about because of spoilers, the whole revenge plot, the whole rage and like the cannibalism in the soup, and that, phenomenal. The idea behind this spirit offering them these gifts and these certain abilities, incredible. That's why I'm landing at a 2-star, because the rest was just, and I literally hate to talk bad about books, but I can't get on board with this one. It's just not for me. I don't think I'd pick up this author again because even the writing style was just not for me. I just kept getting taken out of the story and to a point to where I was over 50% of the way through, and this is under 300 pages. I was over 50% of the way and I was like, you know what? I want to DNF this so bad, but like it's the end of the year, it's crunch time, and I want this book on my goals. Like I want it to, mean something that I've taken the time that I have with it, so I'm gonna finish it. And I did. I was able to get the audiobook, which helped a lot in that last half, through my library Hoopla app. And I will say, I really like the narrator. I feel like she really brought the culture to the characters, and that part of it was really nice. Kudos to the narrator. But yeah, I just couldn't get on board with this story. Ugh. I feel like this gave me rage. I'm just, ugh. And the fact that I bought it, and now I'm like, ugh, what do I do with it? Like, I don't even know if I want to keep it. Like, I love the cover. And I love so much of the concept and the idea of it, and I'm so mad that I didn't like it. Anyways, moving on, I've got to get to the next one because I need some rage. I gotta live through somebody else and
their rage.
I feel as though this could be a mistake because I just finished reading Girl Dinner by Olivie Blake. Literally just turned the last page. And I normally like to set and simmer on my thoughts before just jumping straight in, but I had the time. I look kind of like a hot mess. I've been folding hot laundry, and for some reason, here in the Midwest, it's winter one day and summer the next, and yeah, I'm going through it. With that being said, let's try to dive into this. So, Girl Dinner, cover, incredible. It was definitely a cover buy. I have never read anything from Olivie Blake. I've heard very mixed reviews. There's some people who are like diehard fans, and then I've heard of some who just really don't care for her work. And that kind of sounds like an obvious statement. Like there's always going to be fans, and there's always going to be people who don't prefer it or whatever. But when I say that, I mean people who typically have the same taste in books as me. It's very mixed. So I really didn't know what to expect going in with this. I do think maybe this wasn't or shouldn't have been my first introduction to Olivie Blake. Let's get into this. So, good girls deserve a treat. Every member of the house, the most exclusive sorority on campus and all its alumni, are beautiful, high-achieving, and universally respected. After a freshman year, she would rather forget. Sophomore Nina knows being one of the chosen few accepted into the house is the first step on her path to the brightest possible future. Only she's taken into their fold, the house will surely ease her fears of failure and protect her from those who see a young woman on her own as easy prey. I'm sorry if you hear my cat. She's trying to get comfortable. Meanwhile, we have Professor Dr. Sloane Hartley is struggling to return to work after accepting a demotion to support her partner's new position at the cutthroat university. After 18 months at home with her newborn daughter, Sloane's clothes don't fit right, her girl dad husband isn't as present as he thinks he is. Invited to the house, academic Liaison. I don't know. Anyways, Sloane is invited over to the house, and she is just like blown away by how they seem to have it all. They're achieving perfection, and that is what Sloane desires. Nina and Sloane each are drawn deeper into the arcane rituals of the sisterhood. They learn that living well comes with bloody cost, and when they are finally invited to the table, they will have to decide just how much they can stomach in the name of solidarity and power. What I had a hard time with, because I had the physical, obviously, but I also had the audio through Everend, and what I really had a hard time with was jumping back and forth between Sloane and Nina. Sometimes I would get the two timelines confused, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's the younger one. She doesn't have the kid. And then, oh yeah, she's the married one with the kid. And I had a really hard time. And I think maybe it was meant to be that way, to just show, like, you're supposed to be looking at them as just the women that they are and not, like, this background stuff. But I don't know. There was just that detachment there of being like, whose perspective am I in right now? Especially when I had the audio. I had to listen for the name very closely, which I think that's just a me problem, because I have a really hard time paying attention to names when I'm listening to the audio. I found this to be very subtle, unhinged, very subtle female rage. It wasn't giving what I desired. I feel like the underlining themes and reveals of this were really cool. It was a very cool concept for what this book was trying to deliver. I just feel like so many different things could have been delivered a little bit better. I also wish that I could have related or like really cared for a character more than I did, but I just had such a hard time caring for any of these people. And I just felt like Sloane just complained to complain most of the time. And it's one of those books that I think will really relate more with like new mothers. I've been there, I've done that, I'm past that. You know, like this is for mothers who have recently had a baby and are going through that. But even so, this is one of those books where like she's just so, hate to say over the top, but she is so frustrated and over the top with her husband 24/7. And I just hate those kind of books because I'm just like, if you are that unhappy, you know what to do. Like, if they're that worthless to you, if they you feel don't do anything. I'm not saying this guy is a good guy. I feel like he should be a lot more attentive to what she needs, there a lot more. And I feel like he should be looking at her as equal and making sure she feels equal in their relationship and in raising, you know, their child. And I feel like this makes a lot of mentions that are really good points about men and women and what happens when they do have a kid and how it's usually is expected from the mother to pause their life and take care of their kids. And while, yes, I can relate to that in some ways, it's also, I feel like, a choice that, you know, you make. And I don't know. There's so much more that it comes down to. That's the choice you make when having kids. That's the choice you make when you marry somebody and knowing what type of person they are. And yeah, they can say that they're going to be there and they're going to be present and so on and so forth. But in this situation, it goes even further than that. She just always suspects him to be such a bad guy and that he is out doing something he's not supposed to, whether he is or not. And it's just like, at that point, lady, move on. Like, you're practically a single mom as it is raising this kid. Do it without the frustration then. Do it without the needing to ask for help instead of just getting it because you're not the only parent, you know? I don't know. It's just, and it's repetitive that it becomes a little annoying to an extent. And obviously, it's to build up to what these other women have to offer, you know, the cheat sheet, the gold that will help you perfect everything in your life. It does remind me a little bit of themes of like, what is it called? Death becomes her, when it comes to like some type of elixir almost moment that like that's not what this is at all. I will just be clear, but there's no like elixir, if you will, but it's, they bring up like the solstice and getting together for this tradition and this girl dinner that is offering them all of these things that make them achieve everything and make it look like they just have it all figured out and are thriving beings. And I really, really, really loved those aspects. It really fell off for me with everything else in between going on that, I don't know, ugh. And for me, really wanting the female rage and these stories, man, this could have been so much more in that department, and I really wanted that. So I am landing at a 3-star, I believe. I will probably take a break from Olivie Blake, but I definitely want to give her another shot in the future with something completely different. This is a beautiful addition from Aardvark, of course. And it does have a bunch of her other backlist back here. I have definitely seen the Atlas 6 trilogy. I've also seen the like Masters of Death. That one looks so cool. The cover is just to die for. You can kind of see him. The Master of Death one is the one with this like skeleton. Hopefully it focuses for you guys. If not, I'm sure if you're watching this, you have a Goodreads, a Storygraph, or a Page Bound or something to look it up. But they are such cool covers, and I definitely want to give her another shot. I think maybe I should have went with something a little bit different genre-wise that she's putting out. But this cover is just so stunning, and Aardvark did such a good job. Like, these color combos. Are you kidding? I do hate getting my fingerprints on them, though. It devastates me every time. Anyways, another rage book down, one more to go, so stay with me, we're almost there. With my last book, and that was What Hunger by Catherine Ding. This is my first book by her. I think this is her second book, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, apparently she has one called Nice Girls. Hi, Moon Boy. Hi. Are you wanting to be on camera? It's usually Salem. Look how cute he is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he's so sweet. Yeah, that's my boy. All right, I'm sorry. It's like too much, too much. It's the summer before high school and Ronnie finds herself too young for work, too old for cartoons. Her days are spent in a small backyard, dozing off to trashy magazines on a plastic lawn chair. In stark contrast stands her brother, Tommy, the pride and joy of their immigrant parents. A popular honor student destined to be the first in the family to attend college, the thought of Tommy leaving for school fills Ronnie with dread as she contemplates the quiet house she'll be left alone in with her parents. Her parents rarely speak of their past in Vietnam except through the lens of food. The family's meals are a tapestry of cultural memory. Thick spring rolls with slim and salty nem chua. I could be saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. And steaming bowls of pho thai with thin, delicate slices of blood red beef. Sounds delish. In the aftermath of the war, their parents taught Ronnie and Tommy that meat was a dangerous luxury, a symbol of survival that should never be taken for granted. Kind of get where this is going. But when tragedy strikes, Ronnie's world is upended and her sense of self and her understanding of her family are shattered. A few nights later, at Ronnie's first high school party, a boy crosses the line and she is overtaken by a force larger than herself. This newfound power comes with insatiable hunger for raw meat, a craving that is both a saving grace and a potential destroyer. This reminded me so much of, I can't even think of what it's called now. I really don't want to have to leave it up to editing Allie to figure this out either. But it reminded me of this book that I read that was kind of like a coming of age about this young girl and different feelings and emotions that she was dealing with and trying to navigate, and feeling different and kind of like an outsider in a lot of ways because of the way that she's raised or the culture behind her parents and family in general. Yeah, I wish like crazy I could think off the top of my head what that book is called. Definitely completely different. Halloring, that's the book I was thinking of. Definitely different themes, but it felt so much the same in a way of having this young girl who was just trying to navigate life. And something that was really alarming to me, coming from another female author, is the difference in the teenage years. Because while I could definitely go back to, you know, my freshman age self and try to put myself in Ronnie's shoes and where I was then, it's just so different in comparison. And being somebody who was homeschooled most of my life and just feeling like an outsider and being so secluded and everything else, it would make more sense for me to be left behind a little bit more. And I absolutely was when it came to knowledge about honestly anything in life, but like some of the hard topics that are in this book, that deals with her first interaction with boys and different things like that. But I feel like even I was more advanced, which is just so odd since she is going to a public school place, and it also makes it seem like even her friend is like very innocent. And not to say that that's not the case for a lot of girls that age, but I don't know. I say all this because there was just this undercurrent tone of they seem much younger than what she is trying to portray them as. And that was just honestly a little jarring, going from that to what this young girl then goes through and experiences and how she handles it, and deals with it even mentally afterwards. Just didn't really line up, I guess, the way that I had imagined. Obviously, everybody deals and copes with things differently, so I'm not really talking about that aspect as much as just if she was so much more naive as the author is trying to portray her to be, I feel like it would be a lot more extensive as far as the trauma goes with this young character. So I feel like there was some, I don't know, something off in that department. Besides that, I really loved learning about her family and their culture, and the description of food was amazing. There's so much stuff to appreciate about this. I also love the fact that this is a video where I'm trying to read books with this rage and I keep getting these like subtle rage books. I like that this one was so subtle and like a building anticipation of like, oh man, it's gonna go there, and it did. It ended up being a little unhinged. It reminded me somewhat of even The Eyes Are the Best Part, which I absolutely love. I do think if you enjoyed that one, that there is something to appreciate here as well. And I don't know, it was just such a fun ride, although it is very sad, very devastating. Not only does this huge traumatic thing that happens to the family obviously hurt our main character, but the aftermath of it and everything that then happens to her, it's kind of her leading up to that boiling over point, which you see in a lot of female rage books, and it definitely delivers here. With that being said, please, please, please check your triggers. I feel like this author did really good at like trying to go through the motions of tragic and traumatic things very easily, and just kind of smoothly go into them and not take it too far, but it's still present, it's still there, and I can definitely see it being very triggering in a few different areas, some that you may not even think of. So definitely check those out if you are triggered by some things. Overall, I actually really enjoyed my time with this, and I was seeing some people review this a little bit lower and just say that this really wasn't the book for them, and I'm not gonna lie, I let some of those reviews make me put this book on the back burner, so I'm so glad I was like, nope, I'm reading you soon, and I put you on this TBR, because I have no idea when I would have gotten to this one, and I enjoyed it a lot more than what I expected. With that being said, this is another stunning aardvark. They're just coming through. They're literally just like filling up my library at this point. Very weird choice, red and pink, but I absolutely love it. And cover-wise, I'm not a fan. Not to be that person that's like judging a cover or anything, but like, really? I love the raspberry moment and what, you know, it demonstrates here and everything. I love the rawness, and I know that's like what they're going for with having these fingers that are literally like peeling, and we have a hangnail going on, and just, they're rough looking. And I'm not one to talk. I could never be a hand model, because if I'm not ripping my nails off to where I have no nails, like long nails, they're just like down to like nubs, I am picking around my fingers all the time, and it's such an awful habit of mine that, yeah, mine would look like that. It's just not very aesthetically pleasing to see on this cover, and again, I know it's trying to evoke emotion and rawness and stuff, but I feel like for me, it triggers me. Like, I want to pick because I just want to pick that hangnail. I'm landing at 4 stars with this one. I had a really good time with it and would definitely pick up more from Catherine in the future. And with that being said, I am wrapping up this video. I read 5 more female rage books, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed this round. I felt like they tended to land more into an area that didn't really suit me, didn't really do anything for me, or major things would happen and like these characters would just be so subtle about it that I'm like, no, like, I'm reading about your life because I want you to lose it. I want to see that rage. And I just feel like I didn't get it with all of these like I hoped. So, part 3? I don't know. Definitely check out my last one if you haven't yet. There are some other recommendations there if you haven't read any of those. I don't know, off the top of my head, I think I had a better time with that one. I could be wrong. Definitely have been some hits with both of them, but maybe if I can find enough recommendations, or you guys can leave me some recommendations of some more feminine rage horror, please let me know. And if I haven't read them, I will try to put them in the next TBR. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, and I will see you in my next video.